Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a mental health chat about bringing you hope and bringing you help. And I have a special guest here, and we're going to introduce ourselves and just kind of chat a little bit with you today about how can we have hope in these uncertain times and some great resources for you. And also just kind of saying, hey, how are you feeling? How are you doing out there? So as you are tuning in and hanging out with us, drop us some comments down there. Let us know how you're doing and what are some things that have brought you a sense of hope and some maybe even resources that you have found to be helpful. We would love to have you contribute those on this video so others can see that when they're watching back. Well, I'm Carrie Breedlove. I'm a licensed professional counselor in private practice. My practice is Breedlove Counseling, and I've been seeing women going through life transition and life loss, and my information is on the screen there. I am doing telecounseling, and a lot of counselors these days have shifted to telecounseling to become accessible to you. And I'm also doing a free 20-minute phone consults for anyone who just needs to talk about something and also determine whether or not maybe you need to continue with some counseling. I'm going to be rolling out some virtual groups as well for women in regards to anger and anxiety, and some of those things are really hot topics and heavy on our hearts right now. So thank you for hanging out with us. And Phyllis Finley is here, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Finley, and I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator for Denton County MHMR Center. I've been with the center for 26, going on 27 years, and provided a wealth of different services, everything from crisis services to human resources. I've worked with the intellectual and developmental disability population, so lots of experience, and also have loved ones who have mental health concerns as well.
Yes, thank you so much for doing this, Phyllis. I reached out to Phyllis because she is my go-to in the community. And, we were talking about how just, people who are out in the community a lot, doing a lot of face-to-face kind of work and are extroverted individuals are sometimes struggling with that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh my goodness, yes. This has been incredibly difficult, and for other extroverts out there, I'm sure you can appreciate that as well. This is so hard. I'm a hugger, I'm a social person, and I love, love, love getting up in front of people, and all of those things are not happening right now. And so thank goodness that this happened during a time where we can have these kind of platforms where we can still see each other, just maybe not in a physical way. So one of the things that Carrie and I talked about is I really don't love the term social distancing, because we still need each other. We still need to be social. We just have to find a different way to do that. And so I feel like it's more physical distancing necessarily as social distancing, because we still need each other more than ever before.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that point up. And let us know if you're hanging out with us, if you're able to comment. I think you have to be logged into YouTube to do that, to leave a comment. But I really loved that concept of physical. It is just a physical distancing. You still do need to be social and reaching out, and let us know how you're doing that. I know some people are setting up the Zooms and the Skypes and the FaceTimes and all of those things, virtual meetups, having music. I know our church and many others are offering virtual worship related services, both, just seeing a sermon, preached, or also just smaller groups that are able to pray for each other and offer prayer requests and those kind of things. So, finding those ways is really important. But we do want to share some really helpful resources for you. And so let's jump into that. And it looks like we have a couple of people hanging out with us. Melanie Clark is here, and she says, I'm so excited to hear this. Hey, Melanie, good to see you there. She says also, I'm a hugger too. So we're having to go to the good old elbow bump.
It was real, my friend.
my husband said, this is how I think we need to greet each other from now on. With a salute. I love it. Get creative. That's great. Okay, well, tell us a little bit about some of the resources that are helpful during this time.
Okay, well, first of all, I wanted to tell you all that Denton County MHMR Center is still here for you. We have not stopped services. Our services are going on as usual, just in a different capacity. All the brick and mortar facilities are closed right now, but you can still call our hotline, and our hotline number is scrolling there at the bottom. So if you are in a crisis, lots of suicide, homicide, both, symptoms have increased to the point where you feel like you might be a risk of harm, or one of your loved ones might be a risk of harm, that number is still going to get you to somebody. We can do risk of harm assessments still. It's just going to be by telephone or maybe via Skype or Ring Central, one of the platforms that's going to be virtual. We can still provide those services to you. Ongoing services are still happening as well. So if you are in services with us, you will still have a visit from a case manager, but will be either in a platform virtually or by telephone. Most people at least have a telephone that we can reach out to them and get what you need and fill your medications. But face-to-face visits are not happening right now. The only type of face-to-face visit that is occurring would be by appointment if someone needs a med box check or may need an injection, and that's by appointment only. And those individuals know who they are, and that's been set up through our staff. You can still call our main number during the day, 381-5000, area code 940, and get them. If you need to talk to a nurse, you can leave a message for the nursing line, and they will get back to you. Just be patient, because we're getting a lot of phone calls, and we do need time to respond to those. So patience, definitely a virtue right now. So be patient with our staff. They will get back with you. We care about you. We still are here for you. If you need services with us, you can access that also through the hotline and set up an intake. But you can also call during the day, 940-381-5000, and push 5. It'll give you an option. Wait till that option pops up, and you can also set up an intake that way. And the intakes are still being done. They're just being done over the phone or via another platform, the visual platform. So we are still here, and I just want you to know that. And if you need us in a very difficult time, we're still very much here for you. And absolutely, our nurses and our staff, we have the most amazing staff at Denton County MHMR Center. I'm just so blessed to work with so many incredible people, everybody from our nurses and our doctors to our IT staff to HR to all the case management and people who are providing essential services, residential staff on the IDD side. Just an incredible group of people that I'm so grateful and honored to work alongside. They're really hard and around the clock to serve you. So we are still very much here. That's one of the things that hopefully gives everyone hope, that those safety nets that you've had in the community are still here. Psych triage is closed for the time being, but they can still reach you by telephone. So like I said, all the brick and mortar, crisis residential, all the facilities, our 5 offices are closed right now, but we will still be able to get to you without touching you. Physically.
Yes. And thank you for all that you guys are doing, for what you do in the community and finding those creative ways to still, reach out and help. And for all of those who may be seeing this video who are actually providing those services, we want to let you know that this is for you as well, because those who are on the front lines, not only our medical staff, but also our mental health staff, are considered essential services. And so these individuals, you guys need some help as well. You need places to debrief, so please do not hesitate to reach out to Phyllis, to reach out to myself, if you just need a connection point because of what you are experiencing in all of this as well, because it is a lot for all of us. So, okay, what else do we have here? Oh, we have Barb. Hey, Barb. Thank you so much.
Hi, Barb.
Yay. Okay. All right. So what do we have next?
Well, I guess, I wanted to talk a little bit about hope during this difficult time for everybody involved. This is just a completely uncharted territory for all of us. And so if anything I can hopefully pass along is that this is temporary. It is not going to be forever. And that's something I have to keep reminding myself of, because this is hard. It's for all of us. This is a different way of doing business. It's unfamiliar. We're not used to doing things online. Some more than others, but definitely for most of us, this is it's completely changed the way we're doing everything in our lives. But it's temporary. It's not going to last forever. And there are a lot of things that you can do that can help increase hope and keep the depression that wants to creep up at bay. And we'll talk about that too, things to look for and when you probably need to reach out and get some help. But there's some cool ideas and lots of ideas that people have shared with Carrie and I when we posted this yesterday. And so drinking plenty of water, don't forget to do that. That's important. And one thing you can do also is go outside and enjoy the sunlight and get that vitamin D. Take a walk by yourself, with your family, just, around other people. You need to keep that physical distance. I believe it's 6 feet to stay away from that splash zone of bodily fluids. But get out there and move, because that movement is so helpful and it helps with releasing endorphins. My dear friend and colleague, John Meredith, who loves to run, extolled the virtues of that and getting out and being able to see people that, were out doing it too and greeting them, and how helpful that was for him and being in nature. So those are some very, very helpful things that I've heard a lot of my colleagues and friends talk about. And so I'll let Carrie share some more. I've got a laundry list here of things that people have shared with us. And hopefully maybe you can tune in and tell us some more of the things that have been giving you hope and been helpful for you in this difficult time.
Exactly. And thank you, Melanie, for your comments as well about if you're a peer, reaching out to other peers. We'll talk a little bit more about different resources that people can connect into based on, what specific struggles they may be having. And Melanie is saying, you never know, you might save a life, when someone is isolated and really needs to connect. So thank you for that. Yes. And, I've heard of moms saying they just loaded everyone up in their minivans and had lunch in the car while they were driving around, just to literally get out of the house. So being able to get creative. I know some neighborhoods have put bears or hearts or dinosaurs or whatever it is in the windows, and they say, let's go on a bear hunt. And everybody had a stuffed animal, and they would, mark how many bears that they saw as they were walking the neighborhoods, and just finding those creative ways. We're having Christine Kronskowski join us. Hey, thank you so much for being here. Good to see you there. So yeah, definitely contribute your ideas, the things that you've seen people doing that have been helpful. Definitely, journaling out those thoughts, just finding ways to get it out, picking up a new hobby, returning to an old one. I've encouraged people, tap into the things that have been helpful for you in the past. If it's faith, doing some reading maybe in the Psalms, Psalm 23, just some of the things that bring a sense of comfort and peace to your mind if you're just sensing that anxiety sort of rising, within, and, when you're going out, I know a lot of people have been nervous about just scarcity and things not being there. And that can bring up a lot of fear for people. And so one of the things I've encouraged people is to shop the shelf, not your list. So have a list, that's fine, but shop the shelf, look for what is there. And that kind of taps into this idea of gratitude. Like, what can we be thankful for? What are we seeing that is there that we can do? And that can kind of bring a sense of encouragement. And I did want to share a couple of things that people had shared on the post that's on my Facebook profile. And we had a couple of people that offered up some really great ideas, things that have been helpful for them. So we're going to put those up on the screen here. Big thanks to Kelly Clary, one of our nurses at MHMR, who was talking about just laughter and I Love Lucy episodes. Phyllis, have you found humor to be helpful in all of this?
Oh my goodness, yes. I have been absolutely ODing on comedies on Netflix, and it's been very, very helpful. It's been wonderful.
Yes. And the dance parties, I love that. Melanie is saying she saw a parade online for a birthday party, and they just drove by the home and the parade drove by. That is great. How fun.
That's great. I've seen the teachers doing that too for their students, and I think that's a fabulous idea to give hope to their students. I think that's so wonderful. And let me just give a shout out to all you parents out there that are playing teacher. And if anything, we definitely have a new appreciation for our teachers, don't we? Because this is hard too. And if you've never taught math, oh man, that's hard. So I really have, my heart goes out to all of you parents who are trying to do the at-home schooling right now. That's no easy feat. So kudos to y'all. Thank you to all of our teachers out there that give it themselves every day.
Yes,
Wanted to
and
be
give yourself a lot of grace in this process. This is a huge transition. It was sudden, it was quick. And so lowering a little bit of the expectations and, giving yourself some grace is really important and helpful. We also have Becky Peterson that was tuning in on Facebook as well and saying that she was so happy that we're doing this. She's been hearing from people that they are, looking at ways of improving their mood and using this as an opportunity. And so just seeing things in the context of this is an opportunity for creativity, perhaps people connecting in new ways, she's saying, and just looking for how you can help somebody else, which is kind of what we decided to do. Like what can we do to help, that gets us sort of out of our own heads and into this social online space. Okay.
So maybe some arts and crafts, with found pieces in your home. I mean, that's something that I heard someone doing, taking an opportunity to draw, to play music together, even if, you're not the best musician in the world, picking up an instrument and playing together, but gardening, doing some things outside, getting to some of those to-do tasks that have been on your list. Well, now you're kind of out of excuses now, aren't you?
All the project bags and the junk drawers and the closets. I know.
Now's the time to make those things happen.
Keeping to a schedule. I've talked with some clients that said, oh, I always went to this group at this time. I always went to this exercise class at this time. And so I said, well, do the exercise at the same time on that day that you normally would do it. Creating a simple schedule. It doesn't have to be super robust, but having kind of a general just flow of the day, getting dressed, even if it's just like, your pajama pants, but you're changing a top or something.
It was really nice to get up and pull myself together today. And so, keeping to those same routines and absolutely can be very, very helpful, and setting boundaries for others. And so for those of you who are having to work at home, finding that space for you to work in and try to, and I know it's not a perfect science by any stretch of the imagination, but setting some boundaries with your loved ones to say, okay, from this time to this time, I'm in this space and I need to get these things done. And at this time we can all congregate together, take a walk, whatever, but adhering to some routines, and also setting boundaries with your loved ones, which I've seen some really funny videos on how people are stomping all over those boundaries, but trying to maintain the best of your ability, I think, would be really, really helpful this time. The more that you can take, I don't want to say control, because we're, but definitely keep to the routine that you that will be helpful in doing what you can at a very uncertain time.
Exactly. And, when you're talking about taking control, I mean, in a sense, control is an illusion, but there are some things we can actively do, by setting the schedule. Also limiting, the consumption of media and news, seeing what you need to see, picking certain times of day, okay, in the morning or maybe in the afternoon. If evening is, you don't want that on your mind late at night, perhaps, maybe doing that earlier in the day, but trying to just be moderating how much of that you're taking in can be helpful. And let us know, what has been helpful for you. Put that down there in the comments so that we can look back on that, and others who happen across this video can also, just gain some insight there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some resources, and tell us, Phyllis, what are some things that we need to kind of be mindful of in terms of just good resources when people are looking for those out there?
Okay, well, I really, finding fact-based information instead of, getting into the rumor mill, which social media is notorious for that. We all know it, but try to not, get pulled in. Go to your fact-based sources, dentoncounty.com, which can tell you what's going on in our neck of the woods, reputable local affiliates, cdc.org. NAMI has wonderful resources as well. They have a whole resource guide. So for those of you who are really struggling, and because I know a lot of, at least the local meetings have been canceled, the face-to-face meetings, but they are working on doing virtual meetings, and there are some different resources that you can go to for different particular topics, like an anxiety group, and they're doing those particular things online, and they've been around for a while. So definitely tap into some of these resources, which are really, really good ones. This resource packet is just worth its weight in gold to me.
Yeah,
Can be very helpful.
the NAMI resource packet is incredibly thorough, and a lot of great just questions that it puts at the beginning. If you find yourself, identifying with any of these questions that you've personally had, or you're hearing people ask these questions, this is a great resource. It is very long, very thorough, lots of good links to other resources within this one. So we definitely want to direct you towards that. And you can just go to nami.org and you can find it through their main website.
So I think we also probably need to talk about some things to avoid at this time, some things that we should be mindful of that's really easy to slip into given the state of affairs right now. They've deemed, liquor stores essential. And so be careful with that. I'm not saying don't drink, but if you, are trying to maintain your sobriety, maybe this is the time to reach out to your sponsor, do some of those virtual groups, but try to keep things in moderation. Try to not start delving into too negative of coping skills. Just finding balance with all of this is going to be essential in helping you navigate through it. And so eating too much, too little, not drinking enough water, just not moving. It's just, if you're moving, it's helpful. So being mindful of, if you find yourself sleeping for, hours and hours, for 12 hours a day, or you just can't get to sleep, those are some things, those changes, because let's face it, we're all dealing with a huge change. Changes are interrupting your ability to function completely. That's when it can cross over to dangerous territory. And that's when you may need to reach out and get some assistance. And we are absolutely here for you if you feel like it's crossing over into crisis territory. So now is really the time to monitor some of those warning signs for depression and increased anxiety. We're all feeling anxious. If we're going to be honest with ourselves, it's okay to have these things. It is okay to be anxious. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be frustrated. Those emotions are common and okay. It's just what you do with these that matter. And so it's very important that if it gets to a place where you just can't function and it's impeding your ability to get up and engage in some of your routines that you can do, then that's when you really should reach out for help. That's important. So monitor each other, reach out to each other.
Yes, and
Carrie, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just saying, I'm scrolling some of the different hotlines across the bottom here. And so we want to make sure that you have those. I will update the description of this video with these hotline numbers as well. And feel free to screenshot them. Christine is saying a lot of people are tied to their computers and phones while they're working at home, and also just socially connecting virtually. So there's a lot of extra time spent online. So she's like, remind yourself to get up and move every hour. Set an alarm if you need to. Thank you, Christine. That is really helpful. I appreciate that. Yes. And Melanie also was saying sharing food and water when you're able to with those who are in need. And if you are looking for resources, you're having difficulty finding them, leave a comment, let us know. We will reach out and make sure that you have the resources that you are needing, and putting those things out on social media as well as you're finding them. I know I'm adding them to my Facebook stories as I see people sharing resources, making those things that you are sharing that are helpful public, so that way other people can share them, is a great thing too. Domestic violence, those kind of things that are going on in the home, everybody's just piled on top of each other right now, and having to stay in a lot more, and so tension can definitely be on the rise. So we want to make sure that you know that there are places for you to reach out, and to be sure that though you are physically distant from other people, you can still be socially connected.
I think about our kids that, school was their retreat, or, families that, their job was their retreat from a lot of that. And so they're all, like you said, right on top of each other now, and this can increase. And if they do, definitely reach out so you can get some support in navigating through this, because this is not easy.
Yes. Phyllis, thank you so much for being willing to come on live video and talk on this topic. This is huge. We may do another one of these. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to pass this information along. You can share this video on any social media platform that you have ability to do that. We want to make sure that we are getting this information out. And I did want to say there is a disaster distress helpline. If you are having thoughts of suicide, thoughts of harming others, going with the Lifeline or the crisis line are great. But if you're really struggling in regards to this particular related crisis, the COVID-19 coronavirus situation, reach out to the disaster helpline if you need to. They have trained counselors there, and it can be a great place to just have someone to talk with you. That's 800-985-5990. Any final thoughts, Phyllis, that you have?
Just know that, we're all, I've heard this so many times, but it's so true. We are all in this together. And if you need some support, do not hesitate to reach out to me. Check on your neighbors, check on your friends, even the ones who seem to be doing well. Our aging parents, our, people that, are vulnerable, definitely be checking on them, check on them routinely, see if they need anything. And sometimes some supportive listening can go a long way at this difficult time. I know I've gave a couple of rolls of toilet paper to both my neighbors on either side because they haven't been able to find it. Those are just some really simple things that we can do. Animals can be really helpful at this time also. And I know that if you're in a place where you can do that, then you might want to foster, and because that's a temporary thing, you don't have to make a commitment, but you could absolutely, you'd have a buddy that you can with, and wouldn't have the commitment of having to keep that animal if you couldn't do it long term. But it can, provide them support, you some support. That's just, something you might want to think about, because pets can be really instrumental in a time like this.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Thank you to all the folks out there that are working so hard to keep us rural, like our truckers and our grocery store workers and all those people who are essential right now and essential to our survival in this incredibly difficult time. Thank you to all the staff at Denton County MHM for what they continue to do, and thank you for the opportunity to get to have some socialization of my own. So for me to take care out there and be good to each other, community, because we need it right now.
Yes, and thank you, Melanie, for your comment, and we're glad to be able to do this. And yes, as we said, reach out. There is hope, there is help, and we are so glad to be here for you. So have a great weekend. Find some ways to get some fresh air and do some walking, creative walking. Use all your senses as you're out there walking. And we look forward to talking to you soon and giving you a real hug when we're able to meet with you in person. All right.
I'm proud to be a part of Denton County. We have such an awesome community.
Yes, I agree. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.